Good morning. Um, we want to start the event right now because I'm sure this is the morning and all of us are here to enjoy the breakfast as well as a good talk, and we do not want to take any more time before we introduce you to the awesome speakers and our audience. Just the starting announcement about there's Slido instructions on your desk. So if you want to ask any questions, you have to go to www.slido, enter the event code, which is also there on your tables, and obviously you can ask question afterward. So, Honorable Chief Guest, Ms. Jehan Ara, distinguished speaker, Mr. Ashar Nazim, CFA Society members, Mr. Taimur Behram, are members from CFA Society and ACCA, distinguished guests. Good morning, a very warm welcome to all of you. It's my honor to welcome you all to CFA Society Pakistan and ACCA collaborative event today. The event Innovation of Equality Dialogue on Fintech and Women Empowerment. Today we gathered to discuss the finance, technology, and gender equality and their relationship and how to use that link in order to progress further. This is a very important conversation, and I'm very grateful that we have such a distinguished speakers and group of attendees here. Yesterday, or 2 days before, there was this article by Musharraf Zaidi where he highlighted that by including more women in the workforce, we can increase our GDP by $80 billion. And he stated that our annual increment tax collection from this simple step would be $8 billion. So I'll be asking questions from Ashar from that, how to obviously explore that link further. But we are at a very critical point in our country's history. If you look at, because some of the policy makers or economists, they have been eyeing this, or they have been giving this term to the markets that we are at the worst position in our history. So maybe after every bottom, there's a peak. And this is, I want to say that from the perspective of being optimistic. Obviously, from here, we can increase. But if when we are at the bottom, obviously there are the reforms which we need to introduce in order to take advantage. Because when there are so many reforms being introduced, we need to focus on the right reforms. And one of the reforms obviously would be to include more women into the labor force. And obviously, one thing that stands out when we are talking about labor force and how to utilize that labor force would be technology. If we look at it right now, most of the jobs you can work from home. There are so many freelance opportunities in Pakistan. I'm like, while sitting in Pakistan, you can do employment anywhere outside the world, and you can earn good income. Obviously, those similar opportunities are also available in Pakistan. So, through our today's topic, fintech and empowerment, dialogue on fintech and empowerment, we are going to explore that link further. So I'll introduce what is the sequence of our event today. This event is going to be in 2 parts. First part obviously would be we invite our chief guest, Ms. Jehan Ara, then Ashar. In the second part, we'll have a question and answer session where if any of the audience want to ask any question, they are welcome to do that. Then we have our own specific questions which we are unable to understand. So we'll ask Ashar to explain those questions to us, that how to understand that link and how to take advantage of all that opportunity. Let me introduce Ms. Jehan Ara. She has been in a way icon for startup, IT, and all the good things we talk about, a role model of a woman. She has been there 20 years as a president of Pasha, 6.5 years as co-founder and CEO of Nest.io. Right now, she is Chief Executive Officer of Katalyst Labs, her own company which she has founded. Ms. Jehan Ara is currently serving as the founder and CEO of Katalyst, which I already said. She's independent directorate on the board of the CDC, the Punjab ID board, Ideas board of several universities. She's also on the Gender Advisory Council of the World Bank and a member of Prime Minister's Task Force on IT and Telecom. More recently, she has been appointed as a member of the TikTok Asia Pacific Society Safety Advisory Council. She's an icon in the tech industry of Pakistan and a source of inspiration for many. Without further delay, I would like to request Ms. Jehan Ara to please come on the stage to deliver her address. Thank you.
I'll be hidden behind this if I stand behind the rostrum. Thank you so much, Rukhsana, and thank you, CFA and ACCA, for inviting me. I sort of feel a little humbled because fintech is not really my area. Innovation is, and entrepreneurship is, and women empowerment is something I feel very strongly about. So maybe I'll focus my talk on those and then wait for Ashar and Rukhsana to unpack the fintech part. Although there is a lot of innovation happening in the fintech area in Pakistan right now, and some of it is being done by women. So that's very exciting as well. So as Rukhsana pointed out, I've been part of the tech industry in Pakistan since the mid-90s, and I've seen a lot of change. There could have been a lot more development in the tech sector over the years. Unfortunately, lack of sufficient education, lack of consistent policies, lack of investment, all of that has played a major role in things not happening quite the way that we wanted. But you know, we can do as much as we can do ourselves. One of the areas where the tech sector is still lacking, and I think most industry sectors are lacking, is adequate number of women in the workforce and adequate number of women in leadership roles. So although the number of women in tech as well as in other sectors has been increasing, it's still not satisfactory. And we need to do something about it positively, and it is not just the government's role, it's also the personal responsibility of each one of us to ensure that there are more women included in our companies, in our organizations, and also that these women are given the kind of support that they need in order to be valuable assets to our companies. So when we talk about equality, sometimes that's not enough. You should also talk about equity, and that's why this year's theme for Women's Day was very important. Because sometimes you need to do more for women, because women are playing multiple roles in our homes, in our communities, in our societies, and in our companies. So you can't just say, okay, we will treat them equally to men. Yes, that's important as far as pay is concerned, as far as respect and leadership roles are concerned. But you need to go that extra mile to do more, simply because in order for them to fulfill all these other responsibilities, if you don't, then what are you expecting? They are not superhuman beings, although some of them are actually, but you need to do more in order to create the environment for women to be able to function and fulfill the roles that they are expected to. So this is why I think it's very important to focus on equity as well as equality. Another area is we need to build more women leaders. And I understand including more women right from the outset in organizations is important. Making sure they have the education they need is important. The training they need is important. But unless you have them at leadership roles at board level, then you are not going to get the kind of policies you need. Remember, you are creating products and services for 51% of the population, which is women. So you cannot assume, no matter what a superhuman being you are as a man, you cannot see it from the perspective of a woman. So you need to have women there as well, side by side, so that the decisions that are being made, the policies that are made for both men and women, so that we are fair and transparent in what we produce. And that's why at board level, it is extremely important that you have women. At policy level, it's very important that you have women. In the power corridors, it is important that you have women, because then the right decisions will start to be made. And that's why I think empowering women, making sure there are a lot of women now who are at mid-management level, and some of them are here, I'm sure. I can see a lot of women in the room, which is great. how do we ensure that they rise to leadership roles? How do we create those opportunities for them, offer the training that they need, build their confidence levels? Because women from day one are often told, this is not for you, that these are roles that have to be filled by men. So you need to build their capacity, their confidence levels, as well as train them in the areas that you find are lacking. So among entrepreneurs, I've seen that financial management, both for men and women, financial management is a very weak area. They are excited about products they create. Many of them are great at selling them, but managing their finances is where they fall short. And what happens is that companies fail because they have failed to manage the investment, failed to manage their revenues, and that's what happens. So if entrepreneurship is to grow in Pakistan, both men and women who run businesses need to manage their finances. And that's another area where I feel women have benefited from the fintech products that have been produced, simply because going into the bank, even for me, it is a very awkward thing. Even with state bank regulations that they've changed, and they said they've got more women within each branch, or should have more women in each of the branch to deal with women customers, I would prefer never to walk into a bank. I would prefer to use online banking, use many of the wallets that exist, use the products that exist to transfer money. Women also now find that, BNPL products, buy now, pay later, that helps a lot of women, especially when they're starting new businesses, because they don't have the kind of investments that they need in order to invest in everything at the same time. So BNPL products where they can buy now, pay gradually is something that has helped a lot of women. Then committees that used to happen, I think many of you may have heard of Uran. They've created a product which can be, committees online. So I think if you think creatively and women look at problems in a different way, and if you can come up with solutions to solve those problems, then you are using technology wisely. Otherwise, technology in isolation is nothing. How is technology used in Silicon Valley or the rest of the world? Sure, it's inspiring. But we should look at our country and the way it is being used here. We should also look beyond KLI. So very often we create products and services to suit us, which means people living in the major cities and also parts of the major cities. We are often accused of creating for the elite, although I have never considered myself an elite. I am from a middle class family, as are many of us in this room. But we are often told that you don't look at smaller cities, you don't look at villages. What are their problems? Are we creating products, whether it's fintech or otherwise, for the rest of Pakistan? And now entrepreneurs have started to do that. So there are many entrepreneurs who are in Karachi or in Lahore or in Islamabad who are originally from other cities. And so they know the problems, they're aware of the problems, and they are now trying to create products which are applicable as solutions for those smaller cities and towns. And that's how I think we will expand, because right now our current base of innovation and also our current base of revenue that we generate is restricted to a very small base of Pakistan. When we cover all of Pakistan, then you have a huge market here, and then you have the potential to use those same solutions in the Middle East, in Africa, in other countries. And we've seen that has begun to happen. Recently I was in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has a lot of money, but they cannot build solutions. Pakistani tech companies can. So Saudi Arabia is encouraging women. I saw a lot of women entrepreneurs there, a lot of women who are receiving investment, a large number of investors who are women. So I was really happy to see that, because the last time I visited Saudi Arabia with my father for Umrah, I was a young child, and what I was surprised about was the way women were considered second class or even third class citizens. But now they are treated as equals. They are also part of the workforce. I think we can learn from them. We should be able to create that space and the equity that is required for women to flourish. And when that happens, then the whole country actually benefits. And that is something that I am working on a lot. I am working with young women to ensure that they grow into leadership roles and that they either start their own companies or become leaders in companies that are run by others, so that those companies become diverse. So Zahid Mubarak is sitting here. I work with him as well. HR Metrics is trying to create capacity at board level for women, and also create, you know, when SCCP says you should have at least one woman director on your board, and many companies say, well, we can't find them. Zahid has actually created a directory where he says, okay, here are the women. They are certified, they've got PICG certification or IBA certification, and you know, they are here if you want them. They are actually on several boards already. So that excuse is no longer valid. But we need to increase the pipeline, and that's sure. We need to increase the pipeline from the bottom up. And that is going to happen if all of us consider it our primary responsibility. So, and that's all I had to say. If you have any questions for me, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll hand over back to Rukhsana. Shall I sit down? Maybe Q&A can be later? Yeah.
Yeah. We have to call Ashar for the presentation. Okay, so yeah. Financial inclusion without banking improvement in the banking services through internet banking or online banking is not possible, obviously, because as Mr. Jehan Ara said, a woman, I'm a banker, and I can say that for sure that yes, a woman feels uncomfortable when she walks into the branch. There are multiple reasons for that, but if the country really wants to improve that, if they really want to ensure the inclusion, obviously, they need to provide more services through online. And State Bank recently has asked a lot of banks to introduce digital banking. And this was a compliance requirement by State Bank of Pakistan as part of the Banking on Equality. So I'm sure as months go by, you will see those online banking products on the websites of the bank, and obviously they're also being introduced and marketed, but this is just a first step. Second step obviously would be to make those products features attractive. As said by Ms. Jehan Ara, that just including more women and just giving that equality tag won't do the job. If you really want to improve the inclusion of more women into the labor force, you need to provide equity. That is enabling environment for a woman to perform and to deliver. Without any further delay, I would request our next speaker, Mr. Ashar Nazim, is the founder and CEO of Aion Digital and a fintech entrepreneur, investor, and board advisor. He has flown in from Bahrain, and we are thankful to him for taking out time to share his knowledge and experience with us. Mr. Ashar.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Assalamu alaikum. It's a pleasure to be here. और अब CFA Society, ACCA is not an alien. मैं इससे पहले भी आ चुका हूँ. And thank you to Sarwat and the entire team for inviting me here. I live in Women Kingdom. मेरी एक बेगम है. I live with my mother and I have two lovely daughters. और जब सरवत ने मुझे ये टॉपिक प्रपोज किया तो for the first time, you know, she said, आप out of box thinking के लिए challenge करते हैं. This is the topic. For the first time, I had to say, give me 24 hours to just reflect on कि अच्छा बोलना क्या है, right? And then what I wanted to do is just reflect around myself and the business that we have created and the community that we are serving, and see कि वहाँ पर क्या practical implications क्या हैं, मतलब what are the key challenges, और इस वक्त जो है जो financial technology जो है वो किस तरह से, how is it changing lives, right? And I just want to share our experience. My background is last 25 years in Bahrain. I'm from Karachi. I was a partner with EY, heading the strategy consulting practice, Islamic banking side ke upar, and we helped create a number of financial institutions. Last 5 years, I stepped out of partnership. I set up Aion Digital with a group of GCC investors, and today we are serving a number of banks in the region. So I just want to share that experience and how it has worked out. and the key theme I would like to highlight is we believe there is once in a 50-year opportunity for our women colleagues to really leapfrog and bridge the gender inequity. And Jahara Sahiba, आपने जो है बहुत सही बात की कि you highlighted equity versus equality, and that's a huge topic itself. So by embracing exponential financial technology, there is a great once in a 50-year opportunity for women colleagues to leapfrog and really bridge that gap. And I'll talk about 3 or 4 financial technologies that are making a huge impact. I will not get into the tech side of it. I'll talk about the features and benefits and how it impacts us, right? So, so I want to start with the big picture, a couple of challenge statements, and then the leapfrogging concept. Now, leapfrogging, is a terminology we have come across, but before coming in, I looked at it again, what it means. And that is about skipping a number of intermediary steps to actually embrace now the modern most technology, right? So jo for example some other economies, some other communities jin steps se hokar guzri hain, we can leapfrog and we can go directly to the modern technology which are out there. Yeah. And I'll talk about gig economy, banking platform, open banking, and artificial intelligence, jo chat GPT ka humne aajkal bahut suna hua hai, and I'll reflect a little bit on that as well. But first and foremost, right? So, हम एक ही breath में, when we talk about our women colleagues, हम एक ही breath में तमाम women की बात करते हैं, right? And I feel that there are 3 segments that we can talk about. There's a lot of talks about grassroots level, जहाँ पे mobile phones and mobile payments have made a big difference, no doubt, right? I mean, so that's great. We also talk about elitists. I mean, Jehan Ara Sahiba has broken the glass ceiling. Shamshad Akhtar hain, Parveen Rahman hai, jo Rangi pilot project ki thi. A number of women colleagues of ours have made huge impact, right? I mean, so that is elite, and unke ek alag challenges, alag problems rahe hain. लेकिन I feel किसी भी economy को, किसी भी community को transform करने के लिए जो bulge bracket है, जो everyday heroes and everyday role models हमारी ज़िंदगी में हैं, they are the transformers, right? They are the ones who transform our economies, our communities, and they are the biggest bulk of the intellectuals out there, which can have a huge impact, right? And that is the missing middle, I would say. और उसमें, when I was reflecting on this topic, I was like, if we can enable this missing middle, right, that can create, जो बात हो रही थी कि GDP पे बहुत impact आ सकता है, बहुत सारी और चीज़ें हो सकती हैं. So I want to focus on the missing middle and how our everyday, जो role models हैं, the women colleagues हैं, they can make a big difference. Now, what is a challenge statement, right? What is a problem statement? There are many problems, right? बात होती है जी access to finance नहीं है, access to knowledge and know-how नहीं है, equal opportunities नहीं है. When I was reflecting on it, I said, when I look around, and we are working with some of the leading financial institutions in the region, मैं ये देखता हूँ कि जनाब के 2 major challenges हैं. सबसे पहला challenge है जो आपका social structure है, socio-economic structure है, right? And again, it's not good enough to say, कि जी, कि family priority है या career priority है. मेरे ख्याल है जहाँ साहब आपने बिल्कुल सही बात करी कि बहुत सारी चीज़ों को साथ लेकर चलना है, family responsibilities को, and then you also have to succeed in career. And I think this is a fact we have to face. We have to take it head on. Okay, there is a challenge in terms of striking the right balance between family priorities and career. And this balancing act can be very painful. The trade-offs can be very restrictive. तो एक तो तरीक़ाकार ये है कि यार ये सोचना है कि अच्छा जी, कि what is that new setup, new work environment that can help make this trade-off a lot easier. और दूसरा ये है कि इफ़ यू लुक एट द लैक ऑफ इंटरेस्ट कह लीजिए या लैक ऑफ इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ कह लीजिए इन टर्म्स ऑफ साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, इंजीनियरिंग एंड मैथ, right? And this is the fundamental that is driving technology innovations out there, right? And a thought I will leave with you is कि हमारी कितने बच्चियां हैं जिनको जो है वो हम जो है actively encourage करते हैं for these kind of disciplines. और ये अगर नहीं होगा तो there will always be एक disadvantage रहेगा, राइट पहले ये होता था कि जी टीचर्स बन जाओ, कुछ ऐसी चीज़ों में चले जाओ जहाँ पर जो है वो यू नो कि EQ लेवल ज़्यादा अच्छा है आपका, वहाँ पर येस ऑल दैट स्टफ इज़ गुड एज वेल, बट आई थिंक इट्स नॉट अ रिप्लेसमेंट फॉर स्टेम, राइट? और बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अगर इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ नहीं हैं वहाँ पर इन साइंसेज और टेक्नोलॉजी और इनकी एजुकेशन की, तो वो क्रिएट करना ज़रूरी है. अच्छा, दिस इज़ नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम जस्ट फॉर पाकिस्तान, राइट? आई मीन इफ़ यू लुक एट PwC, मैकेंजी, इन सबकी स्टडीज़ देखिए आप, दुनिया भर में देखिए, यूके में टेक्नोलॉजी सेक्टर में 17-20% से ज़्यादा ख़वातीन नहीं हैं, राइट? सो दिस इज़ अ फिनोमिना दैट इज़ देयर फॉर इन द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड एज वेल. सो दीज आर द टू चैलेंजेस दैट वी आर गोइंग टू फोकस ऑन. तो जो 3 या 4 चीज़ों की मैं बात करूंगा विच आई फील हैव मेड अ ह्यूज इम्पैक्ट. वन इज़ द फर्स्ट द गिग इकोनॉमी, एंड आई थिंक दिस इज़ अ फिनोमिना दैट्स अ ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर आवर वुमेन कोलीग्स. और इसका मतलब ये होता है कि you know, I mean, the flexible working arrangement, thanks to COVID, that has been afforded to us, has made access to work opportunities a lot easier for our women colleagues in an unprecedented way. और ये सिर्फ किताबी बातें नहीं हैं, in an unprecedented way. Today, हमारी जो कंपनी है, we are 5 years young, right? 2017 में हमने अपने आप को establish किया था. And today we've got 13 different nationalities, about 170 people from across 8-9 different countries working with us, right? And I was reflecting कि उसमें जो हमारी women colleagues हैं उन्होंने क्या impact किया है, and how are they balancing the family and business life. The reality remains कि as a scale up business, then there are a lot of hard practical realities as well कि कि आपको productivity उसी level की चाहिए, आपको reliability उसी level की चाहिए, and then you've got women colleagues who are around the world and they've got their own challenges in terms of family and work balances and so, and geographic barriers, cultural restrictions and so forth. लेकिन what is amazing is when I reflect on my 5-year journey, I mean, Amani Hindi is, one of our colleagues based out of Lebanon, right? Lebanon is going through a very tough economic situation as well, right? उनकी भी currency तबाह हो चुकी है, सब कुछ अपना हो चुका है. We were able to spot this talent, get her on board, thanks to, again, the remote working arrangement, etc. तो वहाँ से उनको हमने on board किया. And she has absolutely stunned us and our clients. मतलब on 2nd of Feb, she had a baby. On 30th of Jan, she was engaged with Kuwait Finance House, was the second largest Islamic bank. She leads our data analytics practice. And we are telling her कि भाई तुम जो है अपना rest करो, मतलब I mean, this is your right to take time off, etc. उसने कहा नहीं, if not me, then who? Right? So 2 days before her delivery, she is with the client, she is with, leading her team, etc. And she's absolutely stunned us. I have no words to express, for example, जिस तरह से तो ये जो reliability, मतलब again, ये जो family pressures होते हैं, yes, they are a reality, but then there are role models out there who are doing an amazing job. We've got Zunaira Nayyar. She's based in Karachi. She leads a DevOps operation, right? And again, she surprised us. A young girl, again, a lot of good talent. She's got great talent. Access नहीं था. Right? हमने कहा कि कि we are in the business of building digital banks, and here is an opportunity. और आज ये हाल है कि जनाब के DevOps की कोई भी चीज़ जनाब, so she was one of the award winners for 2022 in our team, simply because the client absolutely love her, right? And in terms of liability. And I've got another one, Tuba Zafar, also based out of Islamabad. She leads our BA practice. और Tuba is also an award winner last year, जो हमारे company का award dinner हुआ था. और उस पर when she spoke, तो amazing, it was a very real conversation, right? इनके जनाब 3 बच्चे हैं और she works from home from Islamabad. और इन्होंने जनाब कहा कि अगर मेरी मदर इन लॉ मुझे जो है जिस टाइप की सपोर्ट उन्होंने एक्सटेंड की, अगर वो नहीं करती तो आई वुड नॉट हैव बीन हियर, राइट? बिकॉज शी टेक्स केयर ऑफ लॉट ऑफ वर्क, फैमिली प्रेशर एंड किड्स, अपना सबको करके ताकि मैं ये काम कर सकूं. और आज इनका ये हाल है कि सेकंड लार्जेस्ट इस्लामिक बैंक इन द वर्ल्ड, कुवैत फाइनेंस हाउस विद $100 billion बैलेंस शीट, वो इस्लामाबाद से बैठ के, कुवैतीज़ वीज़ा हमें नहीं देते थे, राइट? वो इस्लामाबाद से बैठ के कुवैतीज़ जो हैं वो हिलते नहीं हैं टिल दे हैव द साइन ऑफ फ्रॉम हर, राइट? तो तो जब ये चीज़ हम देखते हैं तो हम कहते हैं दिस गिग इकोनॉमी, राइट, दिस फ्लेक्सिबल वर्किंग अरेंजमेंट इज ऑफरिंग अ वंस इन अ लाइफ टाइम अपॉर्चुनिटी दैट वाज नेवर देयर फॉर अस बिफोर. तो पहला ये था. दूसरा, आई वुड लाइक टू हाईलाइट बैंकिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स एंड द इकोसिस्टम प्ले दैट इज हैपनिंग एज अ रिजल्ट. क्या मतलब है? डिजिटल बैंकिंग इज अ बज़वर्ड नाउ, इंटरनेट बैंकिंग, लेकिन इसके बड़े इम्प्लीकेशंस हैं. और जैसे जहां साहिबा ने भी कहा कि कि शी डज़ नॉट लाइक वॉकिंग इनटू अ ब्रांच फॉर एग्जांपल. अब बैंकिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स के 2-3 डिफरेंट एंगल्स हैं जिसमें इट हेल्प्स अस लीप फ्रॉग. क्या मतलब है? सबसे पहला ये है कि जनाब कि आपको जनाब कि बैंक जाना नहीं पड़ता है टू डू योर बैंकिंग ट्रांजैक्शंस, राइट. सो नंबर 1, तो आपकी सारी एक्सेस टू फाइनेंस इज देयर ऑन योर फिंगर टिप्स, 1. बट सेकेंड ऑल्सो कि ये बैंकिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स में हैज़ अ अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्रोमोट एंटरप्रेन्योर्स एंड ऑल द ब्रिलियंट लेडीज़ हु वांट टू बी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, राइट. क्या मतलब है उसका? उसका मतलब ये है कि हाउ डज इट वर्क, राइट. सबसे पहले तो ये कि बैंकिंग रिमेन्स बैंकिंग, द फंडामेंटल्स रिमेन द सेम, राइट. आई मीन सो इट्स अबाउट इंटरमीडिएशन. एक डिपॉजिट साइड है, एक लाइबिलिटी साइड है, उसकी इंटरमीडिएशन कॉस्ट वगैरह जो है कम हो जाती है, एक्सेट्रा. तो द बेस रिमेन्स द सेम, बट ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट बेस यू आर एडिंग अ नंबर ऑफ डिजिटल एक्सपीरियंसेस. क्या मतलब है डिजिटल एक्सपीरियंसेस? कि आपके जनाब क्रेडिट कार्ड है, डेबिट कार्ड है, गुम हो जाता है, यू कैन फ्रीज राइट अवे, यू कैन अनफ्रीज राइट अवे, राइट. यू कैन डू मल्टी करेंसी ट्रांजैक्शंस फॉर एग्जांपल. You can do remittances in a much more cheaper way, right. और ये किस तरह से डिजिटल एक्सपीरियंस, फॉर एग्जांपल रेमिटेंसेज इन अ चीपर वे कैसे होता है? वाइज का नाम हमने सुना होगा, राइट, ट्रांसफर वाइज जो होता था, राइट. वो कैसे करते हैं? हाउ हैव दे बीन एबल टू ब्रिंग डाउन द कॉस्ट ऑफ रेमिटेंस एंड प्रोवाइड दैट सर्विस एट 70% लेस कॉस्ट? वाई? बिकॉज इन्होंने जब एंड टू एंड ऑटोमेट किया, उसके बाद उन्होंने कहा कि अच्छा ये देखें कि यार ये इतना जो ऑपरेशनल और एडमिन एक्सपेंस है इन टर्म्स ऑफ जस्ट ट्रांसफरिंग मनी फ्रॉम वन कंट्री टू अनदर, उसको हम नेट ऑफ करके किस तरह से कम कर सकते हैं. सो दे वर एबल टू रिड्यूस ऑपरेशनल कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, एडमिन costs, etc. by 70-80%, and were able to pass on a number, a big part of that benefit to the end consumers, right? So those are the simple examples of digital experiences which are being built on top of traditional financial products. But most importantly is then about ecosystems. And what does that mean? So platform banking की जब हम बात करते हैं, digital banking is actually a subset of what should actually be known as platform banking. What are platforms, right? Platforms जनाब ये हैं कि जनाब इस वक्त banks for example पहले क्या करते थे कि 100% of their products has to be my own product, right? Has to be my own product, so I own it. It's my IP. It's a closed loop. अब ये होता है the bank of the future. हमारा ख्याल ये है कि will have maybe 20-30% proprietary products, and the remaining 60-70-80% will be linkages they will create with third parties. So for example, if JP Morgan has gone out and acquired one of the biggest travel agencies in the world, why do you think they've done that? Why would a bank acquire a travel agency? Right? It is primarily because उन्होंने कहा यार जो हमारा जो है ना जो high net worth segment है वो जनाब जब जो है ट्रैवल और जो है वो जो करता है तो आई हैव टू मेक दैट एक्सपीरियंस वेरी वेरी सीमलेस फॉर देम, वेरी पेनलेस फॉर देम, क्योंकि उनके लिए ये बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है. और ये लोग ऑफ साइट्स करते हैं, रिट्रीट्स करते हैं, वेकेशंस पे जाते हैं, रिजॉर्ट्स पे जाते हैं, एंड इफ आई कैन कैप्चर दैट चेन then I will get a much bigger share of wallet, right? So they specialize in a certain ecosystem. उसी तरह से रेवोलूट को देखें या मोन्जो को देखें, किसी भी और बैंक को देखें तो वो booking.com के साथ और एयरलाइंस के साथ और कुछ और उनके साथ क्यों इंटीग्रेट कर रहे हैं, राइट? क्यों? टू प्रोवाइड अ सीमलेस एक्सपीरियंस. एवरी बैंक इज पिकिंग अप कि क्या हमारी स्ट्रैटेजी होगी और हम किस इकोसिस्टम में खेलेंगे. सो टेक्नोलॉजी विल रिमेन द सेम, but how they design the ecosystem and offer those digital experiences will become very important. Now, what does that mean for our entrepreneurs and including women entrepreneurs? What does that mean? उसका मतलब ये है कि उड़ान जैसी कंपनी फॉर एग्जांपल यहाँ पर बैठकर can plug into any banking platform and on top of what bank innovations are, वो अपनी innovations खुद offer कर सकते हैं. तो imagine कि आप यहाँ पे बैठकर दुनिया के किसी भी और market में, right, you can plug into Revolut, Monzo, of course, through business collaborations, etc., and be able to offer your innovation services apna to new markets, new segments. Think about it. This is massive. This is massive. राइट. अभी अगर आप मिडल ईस्ट को देखें फॉर एग्जांपल, बहुत सारी रेमिटेंस पाकिस्तान में आती हैं, बहुत सारे लोग वहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं जो यहाँ पे घर बनाना चाहते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे उनको कर्जा नहीं मिलता है क्योंकि जो है फाइनेंसिंग नहीं मिलती है, बिकॉज दे डोंट हैव अ सैलरी कमिंग इन हियर एक्सेट्रा, राइट. ठीक है, अब ऐसा ऐसा सॉल्व हो रहा है, बट माई पॉइंट इज इफ देर आर इनोवेशंस ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट, then as a result of these platform play and the ecosystem play, you can plug into a number of these financial institutions and offer those services. So think about it, right? तो अब उसके लिए आपको बहुत ज़्यादा कैपिटल नहीं चाहिए, बहुत बड़ी मार्केट में नहीं बैठना है, you have that access. So platform play, banking platform and ecosystem play, और अभी जो आप innovation देख रहे हैं digital banking side पे, this is just tip of the iceberg, right? It is, I think, 5% there, 95% is yet to come. It's just amazing, the potential that it has. The third one that I will talk about is open banking, right? And I'm not sure how much you're familiar with open banking, because it's a new concept and it's still shaping up. Now, what is open banking in very simple terms? Isko padhna chahiye, open up banking. Is a demand of the customer ke open up banking. Open up banking to let the data, the consumer data, corporate jo hamara data hai bankon ke paas rakha hua hai, let that data flow out in a structured, consented manner to third-party developers, entrepreneurs, who are licensed by the regulatory authorities, so that they can innovate on top of that data. Right? In very simple terms. Clear? As far as the definition is concerned, right? So kya hai ji, aur kyun? Kyunki regulator keh raha hai ki yaar, you banks are been sitting on this data forever, not innovating enough. You guys are just too slow. We want to break this monopoly. Let the data flow out and let all these innovative players, build on top of it, right? तो अच्छा, उसका फ़ायदा क्या है? उसका फ़ायदा ये है कि ज़बरदस्त किस्म के यूज़ केसेस वगैरह आ रहे हैं मार्केट में. That will absolutely help, right? I mean, अच्छा, UK is a market leader in this one, right? I mean, इतना बड़ा game-changing phenomena है जिसको समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And then I'll talk about the impact it has on our women colleagues, right? इतना बड़ा phenomena है कि UK is the market leader in this, right? अब UK ने जब जो है in 2018, 2014 में start किया license वगैरह करना, 2018 was the first full year when open banking went live in UK. And there were, in year one, guess how much request for data there was? 60 million API calls. 60 million API calls in year one, i.e. in basic language, request for data by all these newly licensed entities. Now fast forward 2022, 4 years. Guess how much there was? Request for data. Any idea? Throw a number. 300 million? 500? 6 billion. 6 billion API calls, requests for data. But here is the icing on the cake. This only represents 5% user adoption. So imagine as the user adoption increases to 10 and then 15 and then 20, which is the mainstream, जिसको कहते हैं कहेंगे आप. So imagine how this monopoly is going to get broken down massively. Right? So that is the kind of tsunami that is coming our way in terms of innovation. That's why I say it's a once in a 50-year opportunity to understand and embrace. Acha, this is not going to be an overnight phenomena. ये अगले 5 साल 10 साल का process है. Bahrain was the first GCC country to adopt regulations for open banking and license it, and we are one of the licensed entities. Saudi is doing it in a very good manner. मतलब ये लोग sandbox वगैरह लेकर आए हैं, and they are coming out with the regulations, and it'll be out very, very soon, right? So it is coming to our region, and State Bank के साथ पहली एक दो कुछ मुलाकातें जो हुई हैं उसमें they are at least thinking in that direction. Now, what does that mean for us, right? What that means is, why is open banking important? Very simply put, it helps in the financial well-being of all of us. How? क्योंकि आज अगर in very simple terms, आज अगर आप जो हैं loan लेने जाएंगे, तो what is the criteria for awarding that loan? Right? आपकी salary कितनी है, maybe DBR क्या है, debt burden ratio, 3 or 4 criteria, right? And based on which वो कहेंगे जी, कि शुएब साहब की के 1000 रुपये तनख्वाह है तो जनाब इनको 100 रुपये क्रेडिट मिलेगा, राइट? लेकिन जब मैं शुएब साहब को देखता हूँ करीब से तो मैं कहता हूँ यार इनके बच्चे अच्छे स्कूलों में पढ़ रहे हैं, ये जनाब के हॉलीडेज़ पे जा रहे हैं, इनकी जनाब स्पेंडिंग पैटर्न इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट दैन 1000 रुपये. हाउ इज़ दैट? अच्छा यार हो सकता है कि इनहेरिटेंस हो, अच्छा यार हो सकता है कि अपना बिजनेस हो सकता है कि अदर एवेन्यूज़ ऑफ इनकम हो, बट दैट इज़ नॉट टेकन इन टू अकाउंट बाय जो आपकी जो क्रेडिट असेसमेंट मॉडल्स हैं बैंकों के, राइट? And as a result of open banking, as a result of this data flowing out in real time, what's going to happen is you're able to capture the data in real time from multiple sources. So every transaction that you're making on your debit card or credit card, for example, right, is captured. So बहुत सारा जो है structured unstructured data जो है real time में जो कि manually possible नहीं होता is getting captured. And इसलिए for example for women colleagues, right? I mean, you know, who are maybe not working 9 to 5 and लेकिन जनाब हो सकता है कि उनके पास other assets हों. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जीसीसी में यह है कि जनाब के ना कि गोल्ड होता है फॉर एग्जाम्पल लोगों के पास यहाँ पर भी होता है राइट सेविंग्स अपनी होती हैं राइट आई मीन ये बीसीज एंड कमिटीज़ का अपना वो स्ट्रक्चर होता है अपना एक्सेट्रा सो ऑल दैट स्टफ इज़ नॉट टेकन इनटू अकाउंट टुडे व्हेन यू आर डूइंग द क्रेडिट असेसमेंट राइट जनाब के स्कोरिंग कर रहे होते हैं आप और उस वजह से द फाइनेंशियल वेलबींग जो हम कहते हैं अफोर्डेबल क्रेडिट सो मैसिव इंक्रीज वी एक्सपेक्ट in terms of access to finance and affordable finance for all segments, but I think special beneficiary will be our women colleagues. And there are a number of others. मतलब you know कि इसके ऊपर इस you know कि जितना आप सोच सकते हैं मतलब you know कि जितनी इमेजिन जा सकती है is that kind of use cases which are coming up. For example, आप subscription करते हैं, right? I mean आप Zoom का subscription है और Netflix का है और Spotify का है and all that stuff. And who remembers? अक्सर भूल जाते हैं कब renew है, नहीं करना चाहते हैं हम. लेकिन हम कहते हैं तो ना कि अब वो पूरा डेटा आ रहा है वो पैटर्न्स आपके कैप्चर हो रहे हैं एंड यू नो यू आर एबल टू यू नो एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस दीज ओपन बैंकिंग सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स you know are specializing in different use cases and are helping you save money better giving you comparison data giving you better financial insights in terms of you know how you are savings how you are spending and so forth so कहने का मकसद ये है कि you know कि extremely important अच्छा इससे क्या होगा कि access to finance बेहतर हो जाएगा affordable finance बेहतर होगा लेकिन उसके अलावा if you understand open banking then the companies like Quran, the companies, a number of other companies, you know, this type of innovation, in very simple terms, can really make huge impact. And the fourth one that I will highlight is artificial intelligence, right? And the theme that I put in there is, you know, is it a double-edged sword? And ChatGPT, how many of us have used ChatGPT? You know, so you know, exactly. और जो है वो तो this is the next level of Google, right? I mean, you know, content creators वगैरह का अपना सब कुछ अपना वो खत्म. लेकिन how does AI help us leapfrog? AI helps us leapfrog by giving us hard data sets, right? That helps remove unconscious bias. Whether it is in terms of recruitment, in terms of promotion, in terms of evaluations, you know, performance evaluation, whatever it is. Right? तो आपकी जो bias, चाहे वो conscious हो या unconscious हो, with the help of this hard data sets, a lot of data coming together and telling you where you're going wrong or getting disproportionate is a massive advantage. Right? अच्छा लेकिन AI का भी जो है दो चीज़ें हैं. It can perpetuate गलत biases भी, अगर if the right, it's not trained on the right, you know, models and data sets. Right, तो इसके लिए ज़रूरी ये है कि you know कि that diversity is there when the AI models are being trained, then diversity in terms of gender, in terms of geography, culture, etc. are there. Otherwise, it will reinforce wrong biases. Right, so it can ये गलत भी हो सकता है बहुत. और उसके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है कि you understand you're not just the users of AI softwares, but you're also creators. Right? और उसके लिए again it all goes back to कि हमारी understanding हमारा foundation across science, technology, engineering, math कितना strong है. Right? लेकिन ये करके जनाब कि again using this again you can bolt on these innovations around AI onto a lot of other exponential financial technology which are coming and really create a better playing field for you know our women colleagues. So I feel so that's where I will end. You know, and the theme was that it's a once in a 50-year opportunity, the kind of exponential financial technologies that have come our way. ये शायद हमने 30 साल 40 साल पहले देखा था जब इंटरनेट स्टार्ट हुआ था, right? 1990s में आया था हम तक. और अब जाकर हम देख रहे हैं कि you know these exponential financial technologies, whether it is a platform play and creating new ecosystems. Whether it is open banking, which is going to be a massive game changer, whether it is data and AI, which will absolutely change the lens through which we see the work and the world. So now is the time, I would say, to look into it and see how this can help reduce gender inequality. Thank you very much.
Questions to stay on this stage. Thank you so much for sharing your views Open banking system, the huge opportunity for the future. Thank you. But a very important question I have about ChatGPT. Is it a threat or an opportunity? This is something very important that we all have been exploring because recently I came across a video where it was like I think a lot of companies and that number is growing every day who are opting for the chat GPT and rather than the human or the employees they have, and which is obviously leading to massive laydowns of the employees. So this is something which we all need to explore, how to make chat GPT an opportunity rather than a threat. Thank you, Ashar. So we'll start our question and answer session right now. A very important question with which I think I would want to start right now is obviously the day is about women empowerment. So there's this number that there are 75 million women who are aged below 30 years. And this number is very important. Obviously, there will be equal number of men, obviously, of this age, because 62% of our median age is below 30 years. My question is that what kind of policies can government of Pakistan introduce in order to utilize that labor force?
जैसे तमाम मुश्किल क्वेश्चन आप प्लीज़ जहाँ आरा साहिबा के लिए रखिएगा और आसिफ साहब के लिए रखिएगा. So I'll take on the easy ones. तो पॉलिसी में maybe जो यहाँ पे इंटेंशन है वो लोग अपना ज़्यादा कमेंट कर सकते हैं बेहतर. लेकिन I'll talk about two of my experiences. One is how Saudi has opened up, and it is absolutely stunning. It has beaten all stereotypes, all perceptions. इस वक्त in the number of segments, the women participation the last 2-3 years have grown from 0 or negligible to 30-40%. That is absolutely stunning, right? और उन्होंने सिर्फ ये किया कि उन्होंने again mandatory किया कि जनाब के हर जगह होना चाहिए, and there was enough talent out there. Like then I will talk about, I had the opportunity to serve on the National Technology Board in Pakistan as well for a couple of years in 21-22. तो उसमें जो हमारी कंक्लूजन थी वो ये थी कि देयर इज़ अ ह्यूज डिस्कनेक्ट बिटवीन एकेडमी एंड प्रोफेशन. जो लोग कॉलेज से निकल कर आ रहे हैं और जो लोग जो है इस मार्केट में जो स्किल्स रिक्वायर्ड हैं, एंड पाकिस्तान टुडे इज़ नॉट फेसिंग अ डिमांड इशू. डिमांड इस वक्त दुनिया में बहुत ज़्यादा है, लेकिन देयर इज़ अ मैसिव बॉटलनेक व्हेन इट कम्स टू सप्लाई साइड. द क्वालिटी ऑफ टैलेंट इज़ सिंपली नॉट देयर. इट इक्वली अप्लाइज टू चाहे मैन और वुमेन. और उसके लिए सजेशन ये था कि बूट कैंप्स, right? A bridge between, your 4-year university study and the profession, boot camps that train people in specific skill set, ताकि very quickly we can put people in the market. और जो आज $10,000-15,000 साल का कमा रहा है, that can be taken to 3 times, 4 times. हमारा analysis ये था.
Okay, so question from your own comments about that talent pool is not there. There has been this increased perception about university education from Pakistan for our students who are doing it in the IT. I think I can say that about the financial sector too, that our university graduates are maybe not provided that international level of quality and education to explore the possibilities outside Pakistan. And that is more so true about IT sector. Our universities are right now not really equipped. So leaving aside what government of Pakistan can do, what kind of reforms they can introduce. Now, this is the private sector we are talking about. Why that is lacking in the private sector university? What is the reason? What is the cause behind that?
Right, and that's a very important question. And Pakistan does not have time to wait 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, right? I mean, to create this qualified workforce. और उसके लिए when I go to different universities and do guest lecture, तो मुझे हैरानी होती है कि naturally even the professors etc. are not tuned in to what the latest developments are, and there's a huge disconnect there. तो लेकिन problems काफ़ी हैं. Solution क्या है? Solution ये है कि at our level, mentorship programs can make a huge difference, right? Creating that awareness. What is that awareness? आप university degrees वगैरह अगर मैं recruit कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे university degree is secondary to me. मुझे चाहिए कि skill set है कि नहीं है. और स्किल सेट के लिए आपको डिग्री की ज़रूरत नहीं है. आज आपको ऑल दीज लर्निंग पोर्टल्स, चाहे वो कोर्सेरा हो, चाहे वो EDX हो, उसके थ्रू आपको बेस्ट से बेस्ट कैपेबिलिटीज़ का एक्सेस है, राइट? सो वन, देयर इज़ नो अवेयरनेस अमंगस्ट स्टूडेंट्स एंड देयर coaches, be it professors, be it us, etc. So वहाँ पर I think really this room, the responsibility lies in this room here, including myself. Okay, are we providing enough mentorship to guide them in that direction? We don't have to go for 4-year university's degree to be qualified and be in demand in the international market, is what I'll argue.
Pakistan ranks 145th in global gender gap index. We are, I think, among 9 countries which are lowest in this ratio. Our gender gap, our labor participation ratio stands at 21% for the woman. That ratio is 36% for Bangladesh and 31% in Saudi Arabia. As ma'am said herself that in Saudi Arabia, when she went and she explored, the women over there were much more empowered into the entrepreneurship activities, into the investment activities, whereas we, Pakistan, we label ourselves on so many fronts that we are this and we are that. However, we are being ranked, even in the banking sector, deposits ranking, we are the lowest. Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE, they are far more above us. In the women holding the bank accounts, we are even below to that. So this perception of what kind of opportunities can be provided to women in Pakistan, is our environment not providing that enabling situation, or is it something else that we need to do in order to close that labor participation gap?
So I'll try to simplify the answer. Challenges are many. Like when I look at people like Zunaira, like Tuba, like a number of other women colleagues that we have with us, talent is there. Or mera khayal hai switch can happen very quickly, especially through this gig economy concept, right? So I think the starting point has to be that very strongly encourage our women colleagues, our young youth, to look into science, technology, engineering and math disciplines. और वहाँ पर अगर enrollment आपकी अच्छी है, तो in terms of exposure, in terms of a bigger playing field, अगर आप सऊदी वगैरह की बात करते हैं, तो 20 साल पहले हमारे जहन में ये था कि हम उनसे साइकोलॉजिकली हम समझते थे हम उनसे ज़्यादा आगे हैं. आज उनके पास इतना एक्सपोजर है, इंटरनेशनल एक्सपोजर है एट सच अ बिग लेवल कि आई फील कि ऑन सम द एरियाज वी हैव स्टार्टेड फॉलोइंग बिहाइंड. लेकिन टैलेंट आपके पास है, राइट? सो इफ़ दे आर इनटू स्टेम, राइट, डिसिप्लिन्स, तो जो टैलेंट मैं देख रहा हूँ, वेरी क्विकली दैट स्विच कैन हैपन एंड उस टैलेंट की बहुत डिमांड है इन द रीजन एंड आउटसाइड, आई वुड से. So I don't think so. Our talent is second to none, I would say.
You talked about mentorship for female entrepreneurs, or generally, if you are considering the overall environment. Right now, obviously, that area, I would say, is lacking, be it in IT or any other sector. And that gap is much more prominent onto the IT side, obviously, because IT is right now coming up. That area is only growing up, but that mentorship and support is not there for the woman tech startup. Is there something which maybe our IT policy boards or the tech entrepreneurs doing in order to encourage more women onto the IT side and startup side, or provide more funding to them?
Right. So, of course, there's a huge gap there. That's a reality.
I'll ask ma'am
I think maybe
Jehan Ara also to answer that, but obviously...
Nani, please. You understand. Okay. So go ahead, please.
So definitely there is a gap there, but I think the government is not doing anything about mentorship. But the boot camps that you spoke about, that is something that's happening both at private sector level as well as government level, where boot camps, 3-4 month boot camps, are being incorporated to fill the gap that we have in qualified resources. Mentoring, I think the private sector needs to take it in hand, and I think several organizations are doing it. We do it. We make sure that we are totally open to telling women that if they need to be mentored, we'll connect them not only with our own team members, but also with people that are part of our community. So we try and do that, but it's not enough. One organization or 2 or 3 organizations doing it is just not sufficient. I think all the professional associations in Pakistan need to get involved. So if there are women in the finance space who need mentoring, then I think CFA, ACCA, even large organizations like KPMG, etc., need to get involved and say, okay, these are our mentors. They're available. If you want to fix a time, naturally people have limited time available. So we have told our mentors that, listen, let us know how many hours a week you're available so that we can connect you with the right people. So the filtering has to be done by us because they don't have the time to now take on people who are not serious about mentoring. And then we need to guide the young people that, look, what is it that you need mentoring on? So unless they know what questions to ask, what are the areas that they feel is a gap, I think it's going to waste the time of a lot of the mentors who are experts and would prefer to help people who actually know exactly what is missing.
And I will add to that कि जो हमारा experience रहा है इसमें when we are women colleagues, I would say are much more in terms of work ethics, a lot better, more reliable, take a lot of ownership, and therefore it's a great it's a great asset to any business. एक तरफ तो ये है, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ मैं ये भी देखता हूँ कि and it applies to the society as a whole, जो supply side का बहुत मसला है technology side पे पाकिस्तान में, that is also मतलब ये ज़्यादा exaggerate इस तरह से होता है कि I don't think so we are thinking or dreaming big. हमारा vision has to be big. What does that mean? मतलब ये है कि इस वक्त अगर आपको किसी को 2000, 2500, $3000 मिल रहे हैं और वो फ्रीलांसर काम कर रहा है या कर रही है, तो वो कहती है कि जनाब कि मैंने जनाब वो 3 महीने में कमा लिया ना, अगले 6 महीना आई कैन टेक ऑफ एंड एंजॉय. और अगर $200 कहीं और ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, $300 ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, तो विल मेक अ स्विच विदाउट एनी अदर कंसिडरेशन, राइट? कि सो द पॉइंट इज़ कि इफ़ द एम्बिशन इज़ टू गेट टू $2000 पर मंथ अर्निंग, देन इट्स अ वेरी डिफरेंट ट्रैक. लेकिन मेरा ख्याल है कि द काइंड ऑफ एक्सपोनेंशियल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ दैट आर ऑफर्ड टुडे एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी इनोवेशंस, मतलब ख्वाब बड़ा देखना ज़रूरी है.
Thank you. So you talk about open banking and great data access in order to improve the financial services. That open data, fintech, everything is connected with the SIM. And when we are talking about the SIM ownership in Pakistan, we are even below Afghanistan. This is the reality of the situation. So how do we close the gap? Because if we want to access the future of the banking, if we want to access that data which is available to, there in order to empower the woman, and that link is not there, that support is not there, it won't be achieved. Would want you to comment on that.
बल्कि I think you are better position के mobile penetration is what I understand is mobile penetration कम है. आप कह रहे हैं penetration तो है लेकिन SIM really?
SIM ownership
Okay.
is in lowest than Afghanistan right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
That is the
so
gap we are talking about.
if that is true, then
So I think it's also that women actually require the permission of male members of their family in order to
Yeah.
buy a seat.
Yeah.
So that's also keeping a lot of women from having access. So that is a legitimate problem. And then there are people like you and me who may have 3 SIMs, because we want to be connected all the time.
and I will build on that. देखिए किसी भी सोसाइटी में जो चेंज आता है वो जो है वो अक्रॉस द बोर्ड की वजह से नहीं आता है, वो एक इंटेलिजेंसिया की वजह से आता है, जो कि इज़ द व्हाट आई कॉल द मिसिंग मिडल इस वक्त, द ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स. एंड आई फील कि वहाँ पर ये प्रॉब्लम आई वुड लाइक टू थिंक नहीं है, राइट? कि सिम्स का एक्सेस या मेल मेंबर्स के ऊपर डिपेंडेंसी वगैरह नहीं. ग्रास रूट लेवल पे आई कैन एब्सोल्युटली अंडरस्टैंड.
You would be surprised.
अच्छा, राइट.
So there's a young man that I work with who told me just a few years ago that I do not allow my sister to use a laptop. And I said, why is that? He said, because I want to protect her from everything that's out there on the internet. So, I told him what was what by telling him that, listen, instead of solving the problem, you are restricting her from getting an education, from communicating, from everything that is out there. Teach her how to use the laptop safely rather than forbidding her from using the laptop at all. So that's again, that's again
very
a
very
problem.
interesting. Being optimistic, I would like to think this is unstoppable. मतलब कि laptop and computer education and all that stuff ये आएगा ही आएगा. जिस तरह से mobile आया and it completely changed our lifestyle. But going back to open banking, yes, open banking is reliant on digital data, right? So cashless economy, so that is important. और मेरा again I would like to believe कि ये जो transformer segment है of the society will be the catalyst, right? क्योंकि इस वक्त हमारे पास इस वक्त pent up demand है. मेरा अपना ख्याल ये है कि कि a lot of women in the society, they are worth a lot more credit than they are getting because they are measured against a very stereotyped 3 या 4 criteria के ऊपर, right? Now open banking is going to completely change that credit assessment approach. As a result, again, it will be floodgates, I would like to think, जो कि at least at the eligibility criteria के ऊपर, मतलब they will qualify for finance. So I think that will make a big impact. And I'm talking about the middle, the missing middle. I'm not talking about 1,000 रुपए का कर्जा वाला, right? I'm talking about amounts that can make a difference, that can help you start a business, that can help you change your lifestyle.
So we are talking about open banking platform providing the data access to financial institutions, and that data source to be used by all other established institutions which are maybe expanding the credit to the customer on the basis of the data score, which data is according to you, because right now the data score available is on the single salary perspective, but then AI is going to help out. So obviously there's this link between fintech and financial institutions in order to take the banking forward. My question would be that how can that link be explored in Pakistan to advance the women empowerment or to close this gap of banking for women? Because right now, if SIM ownership is the lowest and the system is not enabling, what else can be done in order right now to achieve all these objectives?
Right, so if SIM ownership is less, so SIM ownership is less and?
Yeah, the environment is not enabling for the woman to hold that SIM because obviously environment is discouraging, and this becomes more like a biased system which is working against the woman empowerment. So how in that current environment, what role can fintech play along with established institutions to empower more women into the labor force or more into the banking? Yeah.
So talking about the missing middle, the transformer segment, clearly, one of the foundational steps is having access to smartphones and data, having access to smartphones, right? I mean, and starting your banking transaction through that smartphone. और इसको आप ज़रा visualize करें कि how exactly open banking is going to work. 3 layers होंगी जो in terms of benefit that we will get as a society. One is सबसे पहले ये होगा कि आपके सारे different bank accounts, for example, if you have 3 or 4 different banks that you are banking with, तो सारे आपकी banking transactions will be there on one dashboard available for you to look at. That's number one. So that itself help remove a lot of anomalies in terms of कि यार मेरा छोटा सा deposit वहाँ पर है, छोटा सा वहाँ पर है, credit card 3 है मेरे पास, एक पे ज़्यादा दे रहे हैं, एक पे कम दे रहे हैं, right? I mean, so all that is there in one dashboard, number one. Number two, then it is categorized in different buckets वगैरह, और उसकी वजह से एक better insights आ सकती हैं, and it will help us move towards improving our financial management कि जी मेरा एक credit card पे ज़्यादा हो रहा है तो मैं दूसरे पे transfer कर लूँ, etc. So that insights. और तीसरा, उस बेसिस पे आपकी कैश फ्लो फोरकास्टिंग वगैरह अपना हो रही होगी जो फिनटेक्स जो स्पेशलाइज करेंगे उसके ऊपर, एंड देन दे विल बी एडवाइजिंग वेदर इट इज़ टू स्मॉल बिजनेसेस और टू इंडिविजुअल्स. फॉर एग्जांपल फ्रॉम ऑल द वे फ्रॉम साइनिंग अप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स बिजनेसेस के लिए टू ऑल द वे फ्रॉम रिसीविंग, कहाँ पर SOS आ रहा है, कहाँ पर आपकी डिले हो रही है, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ बिजनेसेस डू नॉट थ्राइव अगर आपका जो है वो कैश फ्लो प्लानिंग आपकी ख़राब हो जाए. सिमिलरली कैश फ्लो प्लानिंग की आपने भी बात की थी, तो कि at individual level also that financial management will get better. So I don't think so it answers your question जो आपने किया है कि जो SIM availability का issue है उसको कैसे address किया जाए. लेकिन my long answer is जिनके पास already ये smartphones हैं उनके लिए this will be a game changer in this manner.
Thank you. So you talked about AI-driven data scoring model, credit scoring model, obviously, which is going to help out a man. Obviously, because maybe a senior executive planning different things in the life, which more go towards the investment or purchasing on the bigger cycle. However, when we come to the woman, her needs are totally different. She's running a house, she's buying grocery, maybe she's informed enough to do her retirement planning. So how can system be enabled or how can open banking be utilized on that perspective that a woman has a separate need of retirement planning or managing her daily financial life requirements? How can that be explored, and are there consideration about introducing data scoring models on that front or new fintech products on that front which can help her out?
Yeah, I think that is exactly the beauty of AI models. कि जो manually जो possible नहीं था, जिस data को mine करना and to create separate data sets to target different segments of the market. Now, as a result of artificial intelligence and starting with data analytics and then business intelligence and then machine learning and then comes AI. उस type के models की वजह से it's a lot easier to access, understand that data. Lekin again, and therefore address that segment of the market. So that is the beauty of these AI models. Now, having said that, this is an evolving process, right? और जैसे मैंने कहा कि अगर जो है वो data sets अगर सही नहीं है तो it can actually मतलब exaggerate मतलब जो wrong biases embedded हैं. And before coming here, I did go to ChatGPT and I did ask the question कि जी how does open banking and how does AI help in reducing gender inequity? And I would say the response was just average. And in their defense, they are saying कि जी अभी evolve हो रहा है, मुख्तलिफ markets में data set पर train हो रहा है. It's an evolving process, but it's a good start.
It means ChatGPT is not as intelligent as being thought. So yes, our jobs are safe.
नहीं उस पर I will say कि bionic workforce का concept, right, which will be a hybrid between human using a lot of intelligent tools, is important, is the way forward. और जिस ज़माने में computers आ रहे थे तो लोगों ने कहा यार ये accounting record, ये registers वगैरह क्या होगा, jobbing कहाँ जाएंगी? Naturally we transition. So the point is कि आज जो है जो Stanford and Harvard में पढ़ाया जा रहा है, आज वो यहाँ पे बैठ के किसी भी बच्चे को वो access है वो information, right? I mean, so that's a huge advantage. So the future is that of bionic workforce.
Thank you. I think one of the few last questions, if we have time. Yeah. How do you see fintech innovation continuing to evolve and impact women's empowerment in coming years? What areas of focus do you believe will be most important?
So I think, I gave up my career in EY as a partner, right, to build, something in financial technology segment. And that was not an easy decision. And I absolutely feel this is once in a 50-year opportunity that is happening in front of our eyes. 1990 में जब internet शुरू हुआ, तो very easily we became users of internet और हमारे neighbors जो हैं, they became creators of Yahoos and internet, right? So now is an opportunity once again. The baseline is being reset. And if we can understand the implications, of these exponential technologies, things like platform play, right? Platform play can be in banking in other places as well. And what that means is an ecosystem play. What that means is that proprietary nahi hai, balki I can have a voice on the table, right? I mean, I can plug into those innovations and can create a destiny of my own. So we absolutely need to understand the potential of these platform play, number one. On the financial services side, open banking, right? It's going to completely change. It's shifting the paradigm in its truest sense, right? तो अगले 5 साल, 8 साल, 10 साल में मतलब मेरे पास mortgage है बहरीन में और and I remember कि 2 साल 3 साल पहले उन्होंने कहा कि जी post dated checks तो ज़रा लिख कर दें. तो फिर मुझे याद आया कि हाँ यार checks लिख कर देते थे 30, 40, 50 checks लिख कर देते थे जो बैंक के पास रहते थे. मैंने कहा भाई अब तो मैं जिनके पास बात कर रहा हूँ तो चेकबुक है ही नहीं. एंड द बैंक हैड नो आइडिया कि किस तरह से टैकल करें. उन्होंने लिटरली मुझे ये कहा कि अच्छा ज़रा सा अपनी हैंड राइटिंग में लिख कर हमें ये प्लेज कर देते. मैं कहा व्हाट विल इट मीन, इट विल मीन नथिंग. लेकिन वो क्या, तो पॉइंट है कि स्टिल एन एवोल्यूशनरी प्रोसेस, लेकिन ओपन बैंकिंग इज़ गोइंग टू बी अ बिगर गेम चेंजर. तो इसको समझने की ज़रूरत है, उसको एम्बेड करने की ज़रूरत है. एंड द फ्यूचर विल बी फॉर डेटा, आई विल से. और एंड आई एब्सोल्युटली बिलीव के हमारी वुमेन कोलीग्स के लिए स्पेशली, like this is a huge leapfrogging opportunity that is right in front of our eyes. Lekin it's a matter of again taking it seriously, and at the risk of sounding controversial, I will say कि वो victim card को उठा के फेंक दें, right? उठा के फेंक दें कि यार हमारे पास नहीं है opportunity, हमारे पास access नहीं है, etc. While on one side that supply push is important, mentorship, etc. to handhold, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ से फिर वो जज्बा भी होना चाहिए, वो चाह भी होनी चाहिए Here, I absolutely need to dream big, think big, achieve more, and the results are in front of us. Be it Tuba, Zunaira, Amani, Neha, whoever jo hamare paas hain, matlab, you know, they are the backbone of our 170% business, I would say. So the potential is huge, and I'll say it's up to us to again, you know, take our destiny in our own hands to restart. Now's the time.
Thank you, Ashar, for engaging with us on these important questions. You're requested to take your seat in the audience. Thank you. I'll now request Mr. Temur, representative from the ACCA, to do a closing note. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rukhsana. First of all, thank you very much, all of you, to be here. Such a lovely gathering and being part of such an important initiative and dialogue. Thank you very much. So I would appreciate कि अगर आप लोग खुद अपने लिए तालियां बजाएं जी. तो कराची में सुबह के टाइम पे आना is always it's a I was not expecting so many people coming to this event, but the participation is very heartening. I just would like to thank Rukhsana for fantastic moderation, Sarvat for setting it out. This was ACCA and CFA collaborated event, but most of it was Sarvat's. So thank you very much, Sarvat, for leading the way. I would also like to thank Ashar for enlightening us so much. I mean, there were so many things, open banking. We like to think that we are qualified people and we would know a lot of things, but you showcased that we know so little in today's world. And these sessions are very, very important just because of that. And thank you, Jehan Ara, for you are an industry leader and a voice in fintech and a mentor to so many. Thank you very much for being part of today's session. I'd just like to I have just 5 takeaways from today's session, which I would like to share with all of you. Number 1, the fintech is perhaps the biggest opportunity that is coming our way, and Pakistan is in a different type of stage right now. So if you just look into the stats of it, a big segment of our population is either underbanked or not banking at all. So fintech could play a major role in bridging this gap. Like Ashar told about open banking and a lot of technology sides, and like Jehan also mentioned how technology can ease out that side of things. But from a female perspective, from a gender perspective, it gives so many opportunities. So there's so many women across Pakistan, not just Karachi, who don't have accounts, who don't have savings opportunities or investment opportunities that could come their way. So that is fantastic. Thank you, Ashar, and thank you, Javed, for that, sharing for that. Secondly, we are going through a very difficult time right now, and I think we have to address the elephant in the room. We can't say that Pakistan, everything is honky dory. Things are a bit challenging right now. So in that perspective, if you think about what the challenges are right now, we have to understand that women empowerment is very, very important for the economic development of the country. And we cannot stress enough on the women empowerment part. The reason for that is that if you look into the researches, which are global researches, educated, financially independent women would invest more on education and healthcare, which leads to having sustainable societies which can actually develop good economies and could lead to growth. So we have to look at it from that side. Thirdly, another aspect, we have made headways. We have done a lot of things. Pakistan, there are a lot of good things also happening, but we also have to see how out of whack the gender mix right now is. When you talk about the literacy rates right now, the women's literacy rate is only 46% versus men's literacy rate of 71%. We have to address this issue and create channels for development, like you mentioned, the mentoring channels, and we all have to play our part. We all have a role to play. This session is also about that. It is a dialogue. It is not an event. So whatever we have learned from this, we have to take it from today's session and build on it and create something out of it. Lastly, I just want to say that a lot of conversations have always been about that women empowerment is one of the things that it's becoming a tick box exercise. But you have to understand it is not a tick box exercise. It is not a moral obligation. It makes a lot of business sense. There is a lot of business value. Like Ashar just showcased 3 beautiful examples, of very good leaders from his company who are doing fantastic job and performing well globally. So we have to understand that it is not something that we are doing because we are good and we have to do it for more. There is no moral grounds for that. There is a very good business sense and business grounds for it. So thank you very much. I will not take any more time. And thank you very much for being here and supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taimur. Thank you so much, ma'am Jehan Ara. Thank you, Ashar Nazim, and thank you again, Taimur, for engaging with us this important dialogue about dialogue on fintech and women empowerment. Obviously, we talked about the data, we talked about the opportunities, and we talked about equity rather than equality, because equity gives you enabling environment, and without equity, obviously, we won't be able to achieve our objectives. Now I invite Asif Ali Qureshi Sahab, our Board of Director, on the stage, and Taimur Bahrain to come on the stage in order to distribute the plaques with the speakers and chief guest. Thank you. We now request Ms. Jehan Ara to come on the stage to receive her plaque. And Sarwat, please. The most important part of today's event, without whom this event won't have been possible. She has done an amazing job to gather all of us first thing in the morning. Ma'am? Now I request Mr. Ashar Nazim to come on the stage to receive the plaque. You're all requested to stay on the stage for the photo.